Hey everyone, I hope you're having a great week so far. So this week I just wanted to check in and talk a little bit about negative self-talk, where it comes from and why it's not true so that you can stop buying into it. So before we get started, I just want to start off with a couple numbers for you. So every day we have an average of 60,000 thoughts. Now 80% of these thoughts that we have are negative. That's a massive percentage of our day that we spend thinking negative about someone, something, or ourselves. Now, a lot of my clients say to me, well, the thought is coming from my brain, and my brain runs the rest of my body. So if my brain is kind of the control center for everything else, why wouldn't this thought that I'm having about myself, whether it's not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, it's too hard, I can't do it, I have to be perfect, I can't say no, any of those kind of limiting beliefs and negative things that we tell ourselves, why is that not true if my brain runs everything else? Now, the reason that it's not true is because of the perception that we're giving to the thought or the feeling that starts that thought in motion. Now, we are programmed to have what's called a negative bias. That means we find it easier naturally to look at what is wrong or what is dangerous with the situation as opposed to finding what is right or what is positive about the situation. Now, from an evolutionary standpoint, this is what has been able to allow our species to grow and evolve to where we are today. Our nervous system, studies have shown, has evolved less than 1% since the caveman days. So when the caveman would walk out of his cave, he may hear a rustle in the bushes and he would assume it was a saber-toothed tiger and run back into his cave. Now, this is what allowed him to continue to reproduce and pass on his bloodlines. The cavemen who came out of his cave, heard the rustling and assumed it was a squirrel, eventually survival of the fittest and Darwinism would kick in and he would be eaten by a saber-toothed tiger, and then he wouldn't obviously be able to perpetuate his bloodlines. Now, our bodies still react the same way, except today we don't have saber-toothed tigers. But our body perceives and our nervous system perceives things like emails or deadlines or a parent or a boss or a teacher yelling at you. All of these things in our life, our phone going off, notifications from social media, all these things are the modern day saber-toothed tiger. And so that is what causes our nervous system to react. Now, this puts us into a fight or flight mode. These negative things that from our environment that we perceive as being negative, that puts us into a fight or flight mode. Now, our mind needs to rationalize why we're feeling so stressed when there's no actual threat around us. Now, because we have this negative bias, we assume and we filter these situations based on the beliefs and the experiences we've had. Now, if you were ever criticized a lot as a kid, then you may have the belief that you're not good enough. If you've ever been rejected in any way, you may believe that you're not good enough. Or if your parents have those belief systems, that's something that they can pass down to you through their genes. And so oftentimes when we get this little bit of stress within us, we assume that that's our brain telling us we're not good enough to do that. Or it's our ego telling us we're not good enough to do that. When really that voice exists to keep us safe. It's not telling us that we're not good enough. What it's saying is that if we step outside of our comfort zone, we're not safe. We're exposed to the elements, we're exposed to whatever can harm us or attack us. And therefore it's better if we don't chase that dream, that relationship that we want, or that career path that we're really passionate about. It's safer if we don't chase that and we just stay in our comfort zone and do something safe instead. Now, obviously, that doesn't allow us to then reach our potential and to evolve to the ability that we have or the capacity that we have in this lifetime. So I just wanted to share that with you so that you can start to learn where your negative self-talk is coming from, and you can start to learn to disconnect from it, because I'm a big believer in once we know why something's happening, then we have the self-awareness to change it. Now, this is absolutely the last week and the last chance that you have to get into my Find Your True North reconnection program. So it's a 90-day guided online program where you have access to me twice a week. So there will be 2 group calls a week on Zoom. You'll get a weekly email with some invitations of things that you can implement in your life or things that you can do to further reconnect with yourself and turn down the dial, turn down the volume on that negative self-talk. And then you'll also have a weekly meditation that comes to you, and over the period of the 90 days, the 3 months, you'll have 3 30-minute coaching calls with me. So if you find that there's an emotion or an influence or a limiting belief that's repeatedly coming up for you, we can hop on a call or face-to-face if you're in the Calgary area, and we can just clear that belief out for you. Now, this program starts next Monday, February 19th, and this is the only program that I'm running this year where you can choose what you pay. So you can pay $1, you can pay $100, you can pay me $1,000 if you want, but you choose what you think this program is worth for you. There's only a couple spots left, so if you've been thinking about doing it, but you haven't fully committed to yourself, I'd invite you to look at why you are hesitant to commit to yourself. I'll be there with you the entire step of the way and helping you with that reconnection process. But the only way that you can go on this journey is if you start saying yes to yourself, and that'll help you get unstuck from wherever it is that you're sitting. If you have any questions about this video or about the program, please feel free to email me. Otherwise, I look forward to chatting with you guys next week, and I have a really awesome chat planned for next week. See ya.